Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. It's Saturday night dance. I like the way you move. It's your latest Manchester United transfer news, and we've got lots to get into as well as being driven by you. Got my new Premier League ball. You see it up there? Can't get my finger right. Oh, I hate doing this. Why can't I get my finger in the top corner? Why am I so thick? That. I'm going like this. It's there. No, move your hand the other way. Why can't I do that again? Why am I so thick? There. I don't even know how I did that. Weird. Hello, welcome to the show. Lots to get into. Late transfer bid for Manchester United. Garnacho transfer scare. Sancho updates as well. What are we going to do in the midfield? What are we going to do in the goalkeeping situation? A bit of a scare in the Premier League today as well. When you look at the likes of Tottenham and Man City, they look very, very good. I know it's only the opening day, but hitting the ground running. Liverpool last night as well. It does look really challenging this Premier League season. And what would you expect? What would you expect? But also, I want to just dive straight into it because I want to be driven by you on a Saturday night show. So, spin on the thumbnail. And I've got to say, I don't know what your thoughts are, but we are really 2 weeks from the end of this transfer window now. 2 short weeks until the end of August. And I sort of look at it and I go, people will always sing Don't Stop Believing because it's a good song. But I sort of look at them if they're Man United fans and go, what are we supposed to believe in here? Like, we have the same midfield as last season. We've added nothing to it. And we've got the same goalkeeper as last season. And you know what happened last season? So I'm worried. I am worried about it. Hopefully we'll be okay tomorrow. But we're going to have to make some late transfer bids. Now, where are we going to go on this? Portuguese reports are coming out saying Hjulmand's not for sale. Crystal Palace reports are saying that Wharton's not for sale. We are being linked to everybody because I think United don't have anybody to go for at the moment. And that's what happens when you've only got 2 weeks left. My fear was the Baleba deal actually a late throw of the dice to just give it a go and we couldn't get anywhere with it? And if that's the case, what else is there? I mean, we sort of speculated what the Baleba deal was all about and we will never know. But what if it was actually just a late throw of the dice? Let's wait. Let's see if we can do something. Let's be ambitious. And then it doesn't happen and you go, oh, well, we tried. Let's carry on with what we've got. I just don't know. I really don't know. And look, I just want to say Fabrizio Romano, we've had him on the show for years. He's a really, really good journalist, but I don't know why he keeps saying this. Direct quote, Man United will consider Baleba a target in 2026, guaranteed. They love the player and appreciate he was keen on the move even after United's poor season. I'm sort of like, what type of update is that? Is it just the need to talk about Baleba every day for the last week and a half? I mean, as a Man United fan, what does that do for me? Man United will try for him in 2026, guaranteed. They love the player and appreciate he was keen on the move, so we're guaranteed to have a try for him in 2026. I mean, to be completely blunt, it's a bit like I owe money to the Godfather and I need it today. And I ask my mate and he says, I can't give it you today, but I can give it you in a year. And I go, yeah, I won't be here in a year. I'll be swimming with the fishes. I won't be here. You're absolutely no help. Like, that doesn't help me. I need today, not next year. So you saying, oh, I can guarantee I'll try and give it you in a year. I need it now. I need it now, Fabrizio. I don't need it in a year. It's nothing. A year in football is just so bloody long. What are we supposed to do with that? It reminds me of the normal Manchester Evening News story we get the day after the transfer window closes, and it's not been a good one. Next year, Man United plan to sign Yamal, Kimmich, and Donnarumma. And it never happens. It's just spin, and I don't need that. What I need is honesty, clarity, and movement very, very, very quickly. We're constipated in this transfer market. Let's get some All-Bran. Let's drink lots of water. And let's start moving because we haven't got long left. And I don't see... I mean, I saw some people like commenting under Fabrizio's tweet about it going, that's good to know. Yeah, we can get by this year and then we'll be okay. He ain't going to join us in a year's time. Real Madrid will be there. Somebody else will be there. His price will be higher next year, says Warren. It doesn't do me any good. I've always said this, in the transfer market, you've got to be aggressive and you've got to be ruthless. And we've got to move on. You know, I can't sit there and go, oh, you know, we can get him next year. He'll go up in value. The thing is, on Baleba, and then I'll move on to the other targets, because we're going to have to get active in the last couple of weeks. I just don't know where at the moment. But I was watching a little bit of Brighton against Fulham this afternoon, only about 10 minutes. And it was interesting how when Brighton were attacking down the left-hand side, Baleba was just in the middle of the pitch, sort of holding the midfield from the centre circle. And I was just like, you little shit. That'd be bloody perfect. He literally played right-hand side of a midfield too. And I was just like, oh, look at him holding the position in the middle while they attack down the left. I just thought, oh, yeah, bloody shit. It could have been it. But no, look, there may be a late bid for Baleba, but I'm more like the reason there's no name in the title is because we just don't know who we're going to go for, but we're obviously going to go for somebody. I think that, look, I was watching Villa today on That's Football. I thought their keeper did really, really well. I don't know whether Emi Martinez is back for the next game or it's a 3-match ban, but if he doesn't get picked in the next game, does that open the door to Emi Martinez and Manchester United? I still think that will be a possibility late in the window as well, but then you've got to move a goalkeeper on. It's a bit like checkmate in a game of chess at the moment. There are moves you can make, but I feel like whatever move we make, we're going to struggle. I'm slightly confused at the moment in relation to what's going on because we're really slow at transfers. We've seen that with Mbeumo. We've seen that with Cunha. We were very quick with Šeško because of Newcastle. We're really slow at transfers. And the scary thing is, I keep reading people saying it's over. There's only 2 weeks left in the window. United can't do a deal in 2 weeks. They just don't do deals in 2 weeks, which isn't accurate. We can do a deal in 2 weeks. Casemiro happened really, really quickly. We can do it, but Casemiro, on reflection, was pure desperation. We paid silly money for one season. And those sort of deals do worry me a little bit. So there will be late transfer bids, but honestly, I'd listen to you. I don't know what we're going to do. I think Wharton, very difficult, as I said this morning, because Eze's going to Spurs and Guehi's going to Liverpool. I just don't think Palace will do it. And if they do it, they've got every right to say we want 90 million instead of 70 because we don't want to do it. Hjulmand looks very, very difficult to do. I saw that we got linked to, what's his name? Agome at Sevilla. But, I mean, it's very, very tentative. Very, very tentative indeed. I actually tweeted last night, it wouldn't surprise me if we announced a new contract for Mainu in the next couple of weeks, because it's like a new signing. I mean, that's the sort of thing that I'm sort of terrified. I want Mainu to stay, but announce it in September when the window's closed. Don't do that now. So yeah, look, where do we go next? I don't know, but we need to move quickly because I'm seriously concerned about my Premier League prediction of 5th place at the moment. I'm really, really concerned about it. I didn't think Villa were much today. I thought Newcastle were very good and just didn't have a striker, which they will have very, very soon. I thought Spurs looked fantastic. We still haven't seen Chelsea, Forest, and obviously Arsenal yet. But even Fulham and Brighton looked okay. It's Bournemouth even looked okay yesterday. Like well-organised teams from... I think when I'm looking at teams, and I love the start of the Premier League, like watching as many teams as possible. And what I'm noticing is a continuation from last season. Even the teams that have lost players like Bournemouth, they're still well coached as a unit. That's something we haven't... Tell me the last time we were well coached as a unit, stylistically. And that's what worries me more than anything. That's what I saw a lot of last year at Old Trafford and away. Teams that on paper weren't as good as us, but systematically they were a unit, and we struggle with that. We struggle with teams that can transition from back to front through the midfield in an organised way. We struggle against teams that are a system, and I'm worried. I am worried. Not in the short term. I really do think we'll get a result tomorrow, but in the first 3 games, the amount of times over the years I've seen teams start well and then finish mid-table. So I'm not really overly concerned about the start. I think we'll probably get about 6 or 7 points. Might bite me in the arse, actually, thinking about it. But I think we will have a good start on momentum and vibes. But 38 games, you don't get by on that. Reality kicks in. And I just don't know how Ruben Amorim, he's not a miracle worker. I don't know how he's going to make that midfield work. I don't know how he's going to make that, those transitions and, rhythms work. But hopefully I'm going to be wrong on it, because I just feel like we've, as I said, if Man United's transfer window was a 3-piece suit, we've only got the jacket. and it's a very nice jacket. I like the attack, but where's the midfield and where's the goalkeeper? Our board is like learning to use weapons during wartime. If we're to get a midfielder, was there no plan B or C for Baleba? No scouting before the summer, says Akash. Well, we're going to find out. I mean, look, I do think we're going to pivot to something, but my fear is that Baleba was just a ambitious attempt that we sort of went, if we get him, great. If we don't get him, we'll leave it. I mean, what if we're not going to go for another midfielder? To be fair, the rumour is that we will. I think Fabrizio said it yesterday. But where we're going to go, I don't know. And if it's Douglas Luiz or someone like that, I don't think Douglas Luiz is that much better than Ugarte or Mainu. Whereas I think Baleba was generational, like Yoro. So, yeah, interesting. Wonder why we never went for Maignan after Chelsea missed out, says Noah. I think he was quoted at 40 million euros, probably because of no Champions League, but worth a shot, says Noah. Thank you very much. If we get smashed tomorrow, we'll get players. If not, we will win. We will get nothing, says Weekend Bus. I mean, I would love to say that's not the case, but we have seen that be the case before, where we've had a bad start and we dabble in the market. I agree this wasn't a good window. Maybe I'm being one of the toxic positive supporters, but even the current window has surpassed my expectations. I don't think we'll be world beaters, but I hope we play a bit better this year, says Anab. Mate, look, I'm always really balanced. Like, I genuinely thought we'd get Baleba, and I said stay calm on Sesko. We've spent £200 million. Like, I know it's in instalments, but we've spent we've spent £200 million. So... why can't do deals like Renders and we can't? That's City. Well, they're better than us, Kian. They're about to sign Donnarumma as well. So Man City are better than us. They're better run than us. They're a better club than us. Better team than us. Better manager than us. They're more wealthy than us. They're better than us. How that happened needs to be studied. They were noisy neighbours. Now they're better than us. Mainu needs to start for the Arsenal game, says Ayub. And if we don't get a backup plan for our midfield, we'll get smashed like Bonnie Blue, says Carlos. Get your comments in. It is Saturday night. We ain't winning with Arsenal. Draw, be lucky, says L. That's my prediction, isn't it? Amorim is like a firefighter at a fire, waiting for a hose. United are the people who buy the equipment, saying we'll get you a hose for the next fire, says Emily Derry. I like the analogy. Let's be honest. If we do not get a midfielder, we ain't getting Champions League. It's like our owners don't want us to get Champions League, says Mike JW. I think... You know what it is? It might be wedding night jitters. It is the night before the big show tomorrow. And I think, we've seen a few teams. We know that we haven't really actually changed anything in certain areas of the pitch. And we start to get concerned. There is a positive side that maybe this pre-season is going to improve the way that we play with the players that we already got. That could happen. But Dinaka, I'm literally reading about 8 chats in a row. So does Mark read the chat? No, we've been doing it for 10 years, mate. I absolutely ignore. I don't even know why I do live shows. I may as well just pre-record them. I just sit here and just talk. I don't interact with anyone. The prospect of Bruno and Casemiro in the midfield versus Arsenal is scaring me, says Gabrielle. I think we'll be all right tomorrow. I mean, what do I know? But I think we'll be all right tomorrow. Sancho Saga 2, says Shahin. What front three do we play tomorrow, says MUFC. I think Mason Mount will start. I think it will be Cunha, Mount and Sesko. And I think Delo will play at right wing back. And I think we will go defensive. And look, we've got a draw against Arsenal before. We did it in the Cup. Seth, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for supporting the channel and getting your badge in. First chat in a while, but watch every day, says Slippy Stevie G. Of least season's players, who do you think will show the most improvement? Last season's players, and who will struggle? Well, look, I think that first and foremost, De Ligt, Mazraoui, I think are reliable players. I think Maguire's quite reliable as well. I think Dorgu's going to be the player that really kicks on from last season. Players that might struggle. I mean, you know what? I mean, you can start the season with Bruno, Ugarte, Mainu and Casemiro. You've got 4 players there. Like, with Bruno in the midfield, I've got to say, we desperately need a midfielder. But with Bruno in the midfield, you could argue that there's only one space for Mainu, Ugarte and Casemiro anyway. And Bruno never gets injured. And this is my concern. What if we're not going to buy a midfielder now? What if Baleba was... I don't know how to communicate this, funnily enough. But what I'm trying to say is, there's all this talk of pivoting to a midfielder after Baleba. But what if and it is only speculation, what if United saw Baleba as, you know, a blind throw at the dartboard where if you hit bullseye, your quid's in, and if you don't, you've lost nothing, and i.e. you end up with nothing. What if United went for Baleba in the belief that it's a bit like Yoro? If you can get him, he's generational and it's worth the outlay. If you can't get him, there's no one else worth going for. What if that's what we're going to do? What if we're just going to leave the midfield now because we couldn't get Baleba and we'll try again next year? I mean, we need a 6 anyway, says Steph, but what if we don't go for one? What if Fabrizio's wrong? What if we're not going for another midfielder? That's what worries me. What, basically a bit of a punt, says Etai. I mean, that's not what the news is. That's not, I'm speculating. The news is that we're going to go for somebody else, but I suppose what I'm saying is, do you want to go for somebody else if it ends up being an absolute plan D bag of shit? You know, I mean, it's very late in the window. And I suppose the next step is, and I expect it to happen quickly, is who is the next target? Because I'm not convinced it's going to be Wharton. I'm not convinced it's going to be Wharton because I think it's ridiculously hard to get him out of Palace. T. Jani is the type of centre midfielder we need. Baleba was all right, says JB. Thank you very much. Just a couple of bits of news as well. Garnacho transfer scare. Chelsea are basically saying that they will not go for Garnacho or Xavi Simons until they've removed Nkunku and Jackson. So although Fabrizio was reporting that the Garnacho deal is very, very, very advanced, ultimately the news this evening is that Chelsea will not be moving for him until Jackson and Nkunku have gone. So I don't know how close that is actually going to be. Also on Jadon Sancho, again from Fabrizio, and I don't understand the wording of this. I mean, is this spin? Manchester United want Sancho as soon as possible to accept the deal from Roma, which is 20 million loan fee and obligation. And I keep reading this, and I'm like, what? Oh, is he being told to word it in that way? Because I've never heard that before. 20 million loan fee plus obligation. Like, it's almost like it's trying to word it that we're getting 20 million. So he keeps wording it in a way where it makes it sound like we're getting 20 million. 20 million loan fee plus obligation. To me, that sounds like we're getting 20 million pounds, but it can't be right. It must be 20 million obligation, which we know isn't worth the paper it's written on. So again, I don't understand this wording. Like, and also Sancho apparently doesn't want to do it anyway. But yeah, I agree with you, Greg. It must be 20 million obligation, but it doesn't normally get worded like that, does it? So I'm sort of like, you know, has he had a chat with United and they've said, right, give us a bit of positivity, mention 20 million as, you know, around the loan fee, and also that Baleba might be a possibility next year. I mean, look, 20 million from Roma next year. Yeah, we've heard that before. And yeah, we've got a great chance of getting Baleba next year. Yeah, great, brilliant, super, smashing, great. Also, I mean, I just want to finish off the updates and then we can get back into your comments. Real Betis have kept the number 7 shirt vacant in the hope that they're going to get Antony. With every passing day, they become more optimistic, but it can only happen in the parameters, the financial parameters that they have set that help that club out. I'm just going to take a deep breath because there's just no point. It's Saturday night, I've got a big game tomorrow and I'm excited. But it just irritates me slightly that Real Betis and Antony are sat there waiting for August the 31st so he can get his loan back there and we can pay half his wages and they give us fuck all. Great. Great. Absolutely great. Aaron G, one of our members. Sorry. I'll read that in a minute. That one guy again says Sancho will end up like Dele Alli. I can see it happening. Garfield says Rashford's having a stinker. I didn't think Rashford had been registered in time, or is it a friendly? I don't know. And Aaron G says, been saying all summer, United has tapped up Romano and Ornstein to spin their narratives. Big statement that. I mean, they do get the exclusives, but I don't know. I don't know about that. We've to play offensive if we want to win the game, says Ayub. What you're talking about tomorrow? You think we should go offensive against Arsenal? I mean, I'd love to see it, mate. I really, really would. La Liga. It's La Liga. It's 2-0 to Barcelona. La Liga started today. And I think Rashford was on the bench, so he's come on. Yeah, just on playing offensive tomorrow. I don't know about that, to be honest with you. I actually said it in the preview that I agree that we probably should play Delo as a right wing back. I think putting Ahmad at right wing back worries me. I think playing Mason Mount as a 10 and getting him to support the midfield with Cunha, I think that's what we'll do. And I think we'll leave Šeško up front to operate with... Look, I think we'll get a draw tomorrow, but I don't think it'll be pretty. I watched Aston Villa at lunchtime. They will be a better team the more games they play, but they're a team that knows each other, and they were ridiculously rusty. Their first touch, their passing. We're expecting Man United first game of the season with a load of new signings to go, and a midfield like that and a goalkeeper like that to go out there and, ping it around. I hope so, but I'm expecting a draw. I don't know whether we'll be systematically pleasing on the eye. Get Diego Costa or Martinez ASAP if no midfielders, as Nick F said. Look, I'm really hoping that Villa's game next week, I think they're playing Brentford away or something like that. I think they are playing Brentford away. I'm really hoping that when Emi Martinez is back next week that he's not in the starting lineup, and then there's a big fallout and then we can go and get him. Because we have approached Villa. Now, somebody said to me today, if we don't buy a midfielder and we get Emi Martinez, would you be happy? And I said, I'd be happier than I am now. I think there's stages of happiness, isn't there? Like, you know what? If I go on holiday to Mallorca and it's a 5-day holiday and 4 days of it pisses it down with rain, but on the last day it's sunny, I'm not going to say, I wish it'd rain. What's the point in having one sunny day? I'll take that sunny day. So if we could get Emi Martinez now as our goalkeeper, I would take it. I know that people throughout the transfer window have been quite, dismissive of it. But with 2 weeks to go and Donnarumma's off to Man City, yet again, I mean, you know what? What a great point. What a great point. And why has it not been made? This is a super point, and I'm about to make it. Going into the summer transfer window, I look at Man City with Ederson, and they've got one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League and Europe. Manchester United have got Onana. At the end of the transfer window, Pep's moved Ederson on to bring Donnarumma in, and Man United have got Onana. How can that be right? How can that be right? Liverpool have brought that goalkeeper in that they bought a year ago. They've got two really good goalkeepers. Even Arsenal have got Kepa and bloody Raya. I mean, I don't rate Kepa, but he's probably better than Nana. How can it be that these clubs that we're meant to be catching up are replacing goalkeepers or bringing in better backup goalkeepers than our starting keeper? I mean, I don't know how it works at Man United, but literally, this is a really important position. You've not improved it, and those teams that you want to catch up are changing their goalkeepers. It's madness. It's an absolute madness. So, of course, I would take Emi Martinez in the last 2 weeks, but it's complete conspiracy that Villa might keep with the goalkeeper that they've got. He played very well today. They might stick him in goal, and Emi Martinez might not start the next game, and there might be a little bit of movement in the last few days of the window. Having said that, they've just cashed 40 million for Jacob Ramsey, so they're not necessarily in a PSR FFP pickle. So I don't know that happens, but I'm desperate at the moment. I'm probably like all of you. I'm sort of looking at it and going, like, what are we going to do now? Like, we were clearly not going to get a goalkeeper if we got Baleba anyway, but to not have him and not have a goalkeeper with 2 weeks to go, I'm sort of like, right, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? A centre-back step into the midfield when we attack, and a cam has to step back to make a 3 when defending to make us more stable, so Stewart. And Emily Derry says, if we don't get a midfielder this year, we'll arguably need 2 next summer. Waiting for Baleba next season is all well and good, but we need a decent, maybe not 100 million midfielder this year, says Emily. Yeah, ideally, you do get Baleba in a year's time, but you still need to get someone in now. Had we sold Bruno and Casemiro to Saudi, we could have signed Baleba, Hjulmand, and possibly 2 more players. Bruno gives the ball away too much, says Rex. I mean, look, there is a negativity side to any argument, and I said this at the start of June when we didn't take the money for Bruno. That is a huge call that is going to be revisited so many times next season if we don't do well. And nobody can change that. It's human nature. It was always going to be the case. That would be revisited time and time again every time we perform badly this season, because people will go, we should have took the money and rebuilt the midfield. I agree with that. I was a founder member of that because I love Bruno Fernandes and I want him to play as a number 10, not a number 8. And I think some people struggle with that mentality. But ultimately, if I've got a chef and he's really, really good and I get him to be a waiter, then I'm not using him in his best position. And that's how I feel about Bruno. I don't rate him as a number 8. I rate him as a 10. I think he's a Michelin star number 10. I think as number 8 is, would he start for Brentford? And what I mean by that is, I don't know, because they might want something different in their midfielder. Of course, Bruno's better than every Brentford player, but in the midfield, has he got the qualities? And, hopefully we're going to get proven wrong on that, because it's a big call by Amorim, of course it is. Why don't you think Mbeumo is going to start over Mount, says Matt McGrath? Because I agree with Robert McCormack. I think it's the start of the season, and I think fitness comes into it. I don't think Mbeumo is at the level of some of our players. In every game I've seen Mbeumo play so far, he doesn't seem to be as sharp as others. And this is a Premier League game. So I don't think the team will get picked, Matt, on ability. I think it will get picked on, what's the word? Not availability. Being ready, And I don't think Mbeumo's at the physical level and sharpness of everybody else. I really don't think Šeško will play more than an hour. I mean, we saw it last night with Liverpool, and the game changed because of it, nearly against them. I mean, he took Frimpong and Kirkes off after an hour. And loads of clubs now are ruled by the laptop and the fitness people. So I just think he might start Mount. And also, Mount's going to be more busy and defensive. I might be wrong. He might put Ahmad at right wing back and then Mbeumo next to Cunha and put Mount and Delo on the bench. But my feeling is that we'll go a little bit more defensive. I mean, Arsenal are going to have lots of them. I mean, I can't wait for the game. I'll be excited tonight. I can't wait for the game. Anticipation, excitement. I don't think we're underdogs. I think it will be difficult, but I think because it's at Old Trafford, 75,000, there'll be a real atmosphere there. I've got a feeling we're going to get a result, but it's going to be a difficult game if Arsenal turn up, and they looked very good in their last pre-season game. Sam says, I can see Hjulmand being Amorim's Fellaini after going after unobtainable midfield targets like Moyes. I mean, look, I'd be very, very happy with Hjulmand right now, Sam, but Portuguese reports are saying he's not for sale, but it's really strange. I mean, look, that was our breaking news this morning. Simon Stone saying that he's basically been told that Hjulmand will be on the move this summer. He has been linked to Juventus, so I mean, he will be a lot cheaper than Wharton. And if you're asking me where I think we're going to go, I think that might be it. And I'd be very excited by that. I think he's a good player and he's played for Sporting. I've moved on from Baleba, I don't know about you. I really do. I really did want him, but that's the way I sort of work. And I'm sure a lot of you do as well. Like, there's no point moaning over spilt milk. Clean it up and get another glass of milk. So, we've got to move on. I think the club have embarrassed themselves. I mean, maybe they haven't embarrassed themselves, but I don't believe the story that's out there. I can't believe we wasted 2 weeks publicly briefing the best journalists in the world and then going, yeah, can't afford it. So, look, but we need to move on. And moving on to someone like Hjulmand, if you'd said to me at the start of the window, we're going to get Šeško, Cunha, and Mbeumo and Hjulmand, I'd have said, that's a really impressive window. Where's the goalkeeper? But apart from that, it's a really impressive window. So obviously the time of these deals doesn't help because it's the first game of the season against Arsenal and we're not ready. And I must put my hand up and say that's a really important thing that maybe not a lot of people are thinking about in defending Amorim. Has he had the best preparation for a season? Arsenal are rocking up tomorrow. Zubimendi's had a pre-season. Gyökeres hasn't had a pre-season, but he's had as long as Mbeumo. And they're a lot better team than us. They're much better prepared than us. Look at Man City tonight. Most of their signings have been in there for weeks. United in a worse position than a lot of these clubs, and we're not prepped. Again, we're not prepped. Would you want our midfield or goalkeeper to be exposed tomorrow so it glorifies our need of courage to the board? No, Rob. I mean, I understand why some people might think like that. But the last thing I want is arguments in the fan base. Like, it's been so enjoyable the last few weeks amongst our community and the wider Man United fan base because I don't know why. I think there's been a bit of, the US tour is always enjoyable. But I know that in 24 hours, all that could come crashing down for 9 months. No one wants to do a protest when you're about to sign Baleba. Get beat 4-0 tomorrow and people will be screaming for protests. And I take this collectively. We've all got to take responsibility. 3 days ago, people were calling out the 58 saying, what are you doing a protest for? It's too early to do a protest because they thought we were going to sign Baleba. Get stuffed tomorrow and everyone will be going, get the protests. Why aren't they doing protests? So, that's how flippant we all are as a collective. I'm not saying you're flippant, but as a collective fan base, we're really flippant. And I know tomorrow, Robble, that if we get beat and we get beat convincingly, it will be the end of the world. And it will be a, horrible place to be reacting to tomorrow night. So no, I don't want us to get battered tomorrow so that Ineos and the Glazers go and buy as a midfielder. I want to go and get a result, Someone in the chat just said you need a mod, Garfield. We've got plenty of mods. Absolutely plenty of mods. I've seen plenty of in there as well. Let me just slow the chat down a little bit. Do we even employ scouts, says Luke. Thank you very much. So I know you think Bruno should start at 10. Do you think we should bench Cunha or Mbeumo for him? And what do you think the midfielders should be? Says Matt McGrath. We're never gonna bench Bruno, are we? That's never going to happen. So I think that, in all honesty, whether I like that or not, it's not going to happen. So as I said when we kept Bruno, I hope it really works because I want Amorim to do well, and Bruno's our best player. But I don't know that. I don't think for 1 minute we're going to see games where Bruno Fernandes doesn't start games for Manchester United, Matt. Got engaged in December and took my fiancée Fallon to see United for the first time in Atlanta. She's all in and wants the crop top kit. Love from Nashville, says Rooftop. Well, congratulations to you. I did dabble with the idea of getting the crop top kit myself, but yeah. Set pieces for Sesko. Look, Jordan, Arsenal could dominate us for half an hour and then we could score a header and 1-0 and defend it out. Anything can happen in football, as you know. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Rooftop. It'll boil down to how much belief and winning mentality can Amorim instill within the squad this year. It's his forte. That's why Ineos brought him in, says Hitton. He's firefighting, though, isn't he? Like Emily Derry said, he is firefighting. Regardless of what happens tomorrow, it's going to be, like he said, he's got to take each game as it comes. B says, we need clarity on this, but I think any purchase we make now is on the next PSR cycle. If yes, then not knowing where we'll finish makes me wary of signing plan B or stopgaps. We'll need funds next year or so. I'm hopeful, says Bees. Next season, we might need 3 midfielders. Bruno leaves, Casemiro out of contract, plus a centre-back if Harry leaves, and probably still need a keeper, says Daz. Well, you know what? Daz makes a great point. We've seen this happen with United before. I mean, look, Sancho was meant to come in a year early. I think a recurring theme at United is we're always kicking the ball down the road. I don't think it was ever said, but I was reading in our live chat for the watch along earlier that United officially said they wanted 5 in and 5 out. I don't think United would ever officially say that, but I think it might have come in from a credible journalist or something like that. At the moment, we're 3 in and 0 out. So 5 in, 5 out would have been the absolute minimum. 5 new signings, 5 sales. At the moment, we've achieved 3 in and none out. And I think Daz is spot on. the champions of kicking problems down the road, because if you look at like a Liverpool or a Man City or an Arsenal, they solve their problems in the summer. They go into the season, they don't know what they're doing next summer, but during the season, new problems come up and you solve them. We're starting a season knowing there's 2 or 3 positions in the team that need solving before the season even starts. And then the new season is going to throw up other issues as well. So we're always kicking problems down the road. And you're almost allocating next summer's transfer budget. I mean, I could spend £150 million next summer already on the midfielder we're going to need and the goalkeeper we're going to still need. So, you know, that's a lot of money. Where was the Man City watch-along? I don't do Man City watch-alongs against shit teams. I mean, I just don't bother. If they lost in a shock, I'd definitely do a match reaction saying Man City in crisis, but I don't watch Man City unless there's a good chance that they might lose. If we get Garnacho, Antony and Sancho out, could we go in heavy and offer more for Baleba if he's actually generational and signings long-term? Look, Paddy, people are going to not like what I'm about to say, but I still don't understand what we did with Baleba. So until the window closes, I wouldn't rule us going back in. It just seems really, really strange. Jude's just said, Mark, admit it, you don't trust Amorim. Mate, look, I'm happy to answer your question because you've got every right to ask it. But I've had this for years. And I you know, we've been doing this for a long time as a community. And I'll answer questions. It's absolutely fine. But people do this. And I'm like, I find it really strange because if you've been watching the United stand for any length of time, you'll know what I like and what I don't like. But one thing I don't do, and I know other content creators do it, is I don't fake it and I don't pretend, because ultimately I've been doing this long enough to know that that's unsustainable, and you end up doing what some people do on the radio, where they'll say one thing one week and then completely different the other. So you've got to be true to yourself. I didn't want Ten Hag to go. I didn't want him to get the sack. I understood why. I didn't want Jose to go until very, very late. But with Van Gaal, I went 6 months early. And I got a lot of shit for it. But I went really, really early. If I don't like a manager or I don't like a player, I'll say it. I'd have sold Bruno in the summer. And I love Bruno, but I don't like him in the midfield. So I don't need to... When you say to me, just admit you don't like Amorim, I don't know what you're basing that on, other than maybe you don't like Amorim. Maybe you'd like the United stand to be saying they want Amorim out. But maybe someone else in the United stand will do that. But I back this manager 100%. I don't back every decision because I'm old enough to know that that is like being a rat following the Pied Piper. You know, or somebody say, you know, if someone says jump off a cliff, jump off a cliff, you have to ask questions of people you respect. You don't have to agree with everything. But ultimately, overall, I back this manager. I like his honesty, as I loved Ranić's honesty. And I want him to do well. But I don't agree with everything he does. He might pick a player tomorrow where I'll go, well, I don't agree with that. But fundamentally, I do not want to sack another manager. And I certainly don't want to sack this one. He speaks sense. I worry about him. I worry about people who don't share those opinions. And I worry that, you know, we might be very, very close, dependent on results, to that sort of movement. And also there are people who are hammering out anyway. And it was a very toxic end to the season. And the summer's been a lovely escape, but it will come back very, very quickly. But no, 100% behind the manager, and I don't want to see him getting sacked. Unless we end up stranded in the bottom half of the table, I would endure this season and keep pushing forward. Because the reason for that is I'll look at that team, I'll look at the transfers, and I go, in no way, shape or form is that the summer he should have had. I like Sesko, I like Cunha and Mbeumo, but it's half a job. Half a job. Anana couldn't save with a club card, says Brad. I was trying to think that through then. You know what? No, I won't say it. If we get Martinez, I'd be happy. He's a World Cup winner. He doesn't fold under pressure. He's a leader as well, Spectre. I'm not saying it'll happen. It's pure conspiracy. I was watching the under-18s yesterday and was curious why they aren't playing Amorim's formation. Seems you would want to teach them early on rather than introducing... No, you're right, Brian. They don't do it. We mentioned this about a month ago. They're not going to follow the... they're not going to copy his system all the way through, which I think is strange. I think even Wayne Rooney said it himself. It's strange. I think it's really, really strange. But yeah, that is true. Last thing to lose is hope. We will win tomorrow, says La Familia. Emmy's suspended, isn't he? Well, he was today, but I don't know whether it's 1 game or 3. Amab says, last year I lived my dream and saw the opening game at Old Trafford. I'll be rooting from my couch tomorrow, but it will still matter the world to me. New season, United is back. Thank you, Anab. Didn't Betis get cash for qualifying for Europe, says Keel? Yeah, apparently they haven't got any money. Anthony Donovan, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. We've got to play a fence. I've done that one from Abe as well. Anthony, I've just read yours there. This team lacks so much quality, especially in the midfield. There will be no style of play until that's sorted. Brace for long balls, says Ardy. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great point. Like, Ruben Amorim did say in pre-season that he needs more intensity and pace in the midfield, which was obviously a public, not too subtle a public statement that he wants to buy a midfielder. So I think that that's really, really important, of course. But also, why is my live chat gone? Also, I think you make a great point about long balls. These long diagonals from our from our centre backs is horrific. There are 3 centre backs, and you're hitting a long diagonal. Like, it's bad enough when you've got 2 centre backs, but there's 3 centre backs. Like, one of them can step into the midfield and actually receive a pass in space. It baffles me why we're hitting long diagonals from 3 centre backs. It baffles me why Bruno's hitting long balls and bypassing people like Cunha who want it into feet. So we need, whether we make any signings, and we're not going to make any signings for the game tomorrow, what I'm really hoping to see tomorrow is Manchester United playing football by moving the ball along the ground into players. I mean, look, you can get the ball into Cunha tomorrow and it can be an absolute game changer in that midfield if we can do that. So I think that how we play tomorrow is very important as well. People are going to get lost in the team selections, but how we play I think is really important as well. First 10 games, United win 5, lose 5. Ruben, in or not? Says Sanchit. Great question, Sanchit. So he's basically saying in the first 10 games, if we win 5 and we lose 5, in or out? In for me. Because I've already said this, I don't want to... my opinion is my opinion. I don't want to influence anybody. I've always said this. It's... if you disagree with me, that's the whole point. I've been saying it for years. Like, if you disagree with me, that's great because you formed your own opinion. If you agree with me, great. But I'd love people to just listen to this and adhere to it. And I apologise if you've heard it already. Our season is not about the first 10 games. It's about from 10 games on. In the first 10 games, we've got a number of new players that haven't played together. That needs adjustment time. In the first 10 games, we've got to play the top 4. In the first 10 games, everybody else is playing much the same time as us. From game 10 to game 30, it starts to be every other week that they're playing in Europe. From game 10 to 30, our team will be more settled. So if we're looking to sack a manager in the first 10 games, I despair. Like, it's so obvious that our real season's going to be from game 10 to game 30. That's where we can make hay. That's where we can move up the table. So I think we've got 4 really difficult games in the first, like ridiculously difficult games, starting with Arsenal tomorrow. We've got Chelsea and Man City game 4 and 5, and I think we've got Liverpool game 8. When we get to game 10, I won't be looking at it and going, this is where we're going to be. I'll be looking at it and going, this is where we are. Now let's motor, especially till Christmas when you've played everybody once. But I know that some people just react to absolutely every result and it's up and down like a yo-yo. You missed my super chat, so I'll say it again. Whatever happens with the midfield, it will divide the fan base. Everyone wanted Baleba, says Addy. I don't know why that didn't show up before, Addy, because I've just been through them all. Why not loaning Bienda like we've done with Henderson? He hasn't had enough time to develop. We can't judge Bienda as an Anna, says Abdi. I think, again, it's a good point, and I would pose the question, why is it that we have so many players that lack ambition at Manchester United? Like Bienda, if I'm being completely blunt, came in with quite a reputation that he might challenge for the first team spot, and Ten Hag never let him do it, and Amorim's never let him do it, and that's because he's not good enough. And yet he's still happy to sit on his arse at Man United. Like, why is he not trying to go and find first team football anywhere? What is it about Manchester United that makes people dig in and go, I'm not going to go anywhere? And is it just money? I mean, I don't even know if I can find this, but £35,000 a week. I mean, it's not bad, but if he went, we'd bring a goalkeeper in. But it's not even just Anana. Bienda won't go either. And I don't know why. Espen says, I'm super optimistic. Hope that I'm not jinxing it. I believe we will get one more signing in the midfield. I thought you were going to say, I believe we're going to win tomorrow. I think we have to make more signings, mate. Who that late transfer bid's going to be, I don't know, but we have to. I saw the City game and I thought their midfield would tear ours apart, says Andre, and that's not even got Rodri in it. Have you seen the Arsenal tattoo on Hjulmand's arm, says Orange. I mean, somebody mentioned this morning. If he's got an Arsenal tattoo, he can't sign for Man United. I know that sounds really stupid, but, well, let's run a poll on it. I mean, I never thought we'd be running a poll on this. Would you sign Hjulmand with an Arsenal tattoo? And I'm just going to double check this is true. Does Hjulmand have an Arsenal tattoo? Yes, he's got an Arsenal tattoo on his left shoulder, which he got due to his childhood admiration for the club, particularly legend Patrick Vieira. This tattoo has become well-known detail about the player and has even complicated potential moves to Tottenham. It's public knowledge. Trying to have a look at the picture of it. I mean, someone in the chat, it went through. No, I've got it. Oh no, it's whizzed by again. Why is the chat weird tonight? Pond life mentality. If you said no. I mean, look, he might sign for United now, so I've got to be really, really careful. But you know what? I don't want to answer this, but I don't do that. So, I mean, what I will say is, if he's got an Arsenal tattoo on his shoulder, but he signs for Manchester United, he wants to come to Manchester United. And, you know, John Terry supported Man United as a kid. Cole Palmer supports Man United. You know, it's like, I'm sure he'd love to go and play for Arsenal. But, I mean, if we sign him, I don't think it's a problem. But we will get bantered for it. Arsenal fans will rip the piss out of us. So I think it's one of those where, with 2 weeks to go in the window, would I rather have Hjulmand with an Arsenal tattoo or nothing? I'd be very happy to get Hjulmand. But we will get absolutely ripped for having it. Of course we will. We'll get absolutely bantered for it because Arsenal fans will just be, he supports us. So, yeah. JB says, another Onana reaction video pending. 61% said they wouldn't go for him with an Arsenal tattoo. 39% said they would. I mean, also, we'll just get bantered, but that's nothing new. And I suppose beggars can't be choosers. I mean, I'd have took Gyökeres if they'd gone for Sesko, even though he wanted to go to Arsenal as well. Look, beggars can't be choosers, can they? it's sad that that's the club we've become, but there is a reality. As I said to you last night, I can't remember a season where I've said 5th would be good. I can't remember a season where we've started the season and I've gone 5th would be good. So that's where we are, isn't it? You missed a trick with Rios, bargain and talented, says Antony Jury. I didn't miss a trick. A lot of you didn't miss a trick. Man United just completely ignored it again. And I don't know why. I think Rios looked perfect for our midfield. And the only reservation I had about Rios is he's more of an 8. Well, so's Baleba. So, I don't know. Thoughts on Stiller as a backup for Baleba, says Jolin. I mean, look, I don't know, mate. I've mentioned the guy from Sevilla. Kamara's been mentioned. Edison's been mentioned. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Another Onana reaction video on pending, says JB. I hope he has a worldie tomorrow. Onana must have a Ten Hag tattoo on his left bum cheek, says Parker. And if Cunha scores tomorrow, what happens if we fly to Armenia and score nothing? You all need to wake up. No one said Seshko will make assists. What the fuck? Am I just blown away by that comment, or does it actually make sense? If Cunha scores tomorrow, what happens if we fly to Armenia and score nothing? You all need to wake up. No one said Seshko will make assists. What? Am I being fit? Tizzy, what are you doing? That is just an absolutely crazy super chat. What is it? What's Armenia got to do with it? And I don't know. I don't know what that is. Fair play, mate. You've blown my mind. Ryan Moore says, having Onana is like a ticking time bomb. We're just waiting for a catastrophe at this point. Odds on media spin if we lose tomorrow, says Ryan. The media are going to come for us anyway. I mean, I'll defend Amorim against the media. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about defending Amorim against you lot. That's the only thing that bothers me. The thing that made me sad at the end of last season was doing match reactions after losing and seeing the amount of shit Amorim was getting. That's the only thing that bothers me. I can deal with the prats in the media. I think we all can. Massively missed out on Richard Rios is similar to Baleba, says Antony Jury. I'm not confident with Ahmad as a wing-back. Delo starts. I would do that, Nor. We will do great tomorrow. I think we have the firepower, says Antony. I don't think it's the fire. Look, Arsenal have got the best defence in the league for the last 2 years. They've got a much better midfield than us, and they've got a much better attack. I mean, Seshko, I mean, Gyökeres. I mean, I don't know. Look, I said to Robbie, I'm going with a draw, but you could beat us 4-0. I feel like we'll win. The crowd will do the job. I hope so, Abe. Ali says we need a Kante-like midfielder to be playing a 3-4-3. For United to get top 5, we need to pivot in each game. Van Gaal tried the same and fans are not patient. The big thing with our system, and we'll see what happens tomorrow, is 3 centre-backs in the Premier League tends to mean that you're defensively counter-attacking. If you look at Crystal Palace, they're defensively quite counter-attacking. If you look at Wolves, they're quite counter-attacking. Even Newcastle, when they did it last season, they're quite counter-attacking. There aren't many teams that play a 3-4-3 and are really offensive. And the reason for that, I think, is because 3 centre-backs in the Premier League, they play as 3 centre-backs. Most teams with 2 centre-backs, therefore, end up with an extra attacker. What we should be doing with our 3 centre-backs is one of them, or 2 of them, alternating, should be stepping into the midfield. And we've not mastered that yet. Like, that 3 centre-back thing, basically, from what, and Amorim's not been able to change it, is we're playing with 3 centre-backs when we used to play with 2. So you're losing a player somewhere else. Now, if you watch Sporting, that's not how it worked. Those 3 centre-backs became the back 4, and the 2 wing-backs became wingers. So you were basically playing with 3 at the back a lot of the time. So we just haven't been able to do that. And I think that's a personnel thing. It's very difficult to, you know, it's not been given the play. They're not his players, are they? Even Lenny Yoro's not his signing, and I'm sure he's very, very happy with him. And I'm not saying that Yoro's not right for the system. He is. I think Martinez is right for the system. But, you know, he's got to be given time to bring his own players in, and that's very, very difficult. Good question. This team, I've done that one from Ardy. Good question. In or out 10 games exposed Amorim outers in chat already. We ain't even kicked a ball, says Jason Brown. Dennis Law relegated, and he relegated us, and he's a club legend. Says love hate games. Didn't you say, mate? I said we. Sorry, Anthony Jury says, didn't say you, mate. I said we, as in United, watched Rios the other day, ran the midfield. Says Anthony. Yeah, but you know that's what I mean, Anthony. I mean a lot of us were talking about Rios in June, and obviously he was available for a very reasonable price. I am, but you know what? I'm not defending United, but I'm also quite surprised that no other Premier League club went for him. I'd like to have seen him play in the Premier League. Exo says, imagine he joins us and scoring against Arsenal immediately shows the Arsenal tattoo to their fans. Well, he won't be playing tomorrow, that's for sure. Do you think Sesko will outperform Gyökeres this season? Myself, I don't know, but athleticism-wise, Sesko clears him, and in the next few years, I'd pick Sesko. No, Matt, I think I've said Gyökeres is going to win the Golden Boot, so I don't think he's going to outperform him at all. Yeah. Aken says, respectfully, Mark, every top team builds from the back with a 3. Respectfully, I don't see Liverpool doing that. They've got 2 centre-backs, respectfully. Okay, one of their midfielders might drop in, but respectfully, that's what we used to do with Ten Hag, but it's still a back 4. We're not playing a back 4, respectfully. So if you're talking about a midfielder dropping in to receive the ball, that's been going on for decades. But that's not the same as playing 3 centre-backs. And also, if you watch Manchester United, respectfully, when we play with 3 centre-backs, we still see one of our midfielders dropping in to receive the ball. So, Howder, there are rumours that Mr. Goldbridge has a Man City tattoo on his left butt cheek. Can't find the picture on Google, just kidding. Yeah, I have no tattoos, and I certainly wouldn't have a Man City one. Hi Mark, could you give me a shout out for 3-month membership? Onana needs to go, and Donnarumma not sure for spelling for Man City, says Stephen Campbell. I mean, I presume that Onana will be in goal tomorrow, won't he? Against Manchester United, first game. Well, I hope he plays well. I really do. I'm very excited to have the Premier League back, and I'm very excited about Manchester United playing tomorrow. I think with excitement, to be excited, there has to be some jeopardy. And of course, the jeopardy tomorrow is that I dread to think what the match reaction will be like if it goes wrong. But very, very excited and very much looking forward to it. It is the game of the weekend. It is a huge game. It's somewhat strange that it's the first game of the season, but we've played Chelsea on the opening day before. And Arsenal are a very good side. And that is why I haven't done any sort of we're going to win. I don't think we're going to win. I think a draw would be a good result for us. But we are capable of winning, and I think anybody that says that we're not must have been living under a rock for the last 5 years, because under Jose, Ollie, Ten Hag, we've always been able to beat anybody on our day, and we can do it tomorrow. And if we do it, I don't think it means we don't need a midfielder or a goalkeeper. I just think it means that we've done it again. I'd be worried about Fulham the week after. In fact, if we beat Arsenal tomorrow, I guarantee we'll lose to Fulham the week after, because that's what we do. But I hope I'm right with my feeling that we won't get beat tomorrow, because the flip side is I think Arsenal are more than capable of putting 3 or 4 past us. So let's not forget, we are playing a very, very good side tomorrow. Would you say a goalkeeper is on the cards if we get Hjulmand for cheaper, says Paul? I like the theory that Emery drops Martinez and Martinez comes to Man United, because that would be a huge improvement for us. And I like the theory that we can finish 5th. But you know, United briefed about Baleba that they weren't going for him, and we didn't go for him. United have briefed that we're not going for a goalkeeper, and we haven't got a goalkeeper. So I have to be realistic that we may not get a goalkeeper. And it's not just removing Onana, it's removing Brienda as well. Neither of them will leave. Thank you very much for watching. I am not doing an after show tonight because I've got a couple of things to do, but and I was also a bit late tonight. But thanks everyone for tuning in. Always nice to have what I call hardcore 15,000. I know sometimes it goes to 25. That's because of transfer news. So the hardcore is appreciated. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. I can't get my words out. I'm so excited. Take care, stay safe, and get ready for tomorrow. It's going to be an absolutely banging day. I have got a morning show. I'm a little bit early tomorrow because Seb's got a game at 10, so I'll probably be live at about 7:45, maybe 8:30, and then countdown to kickoff starts at about 2:30. Kickoff is 4:30. Match reaction, and then fan forum all the way through till 8 o'clock. Player ratings are back. Everything's back. And something a little bit new to show you tomorrow on the watch along as well. So get excited. We've made some signings. Man United may not, but we've made some signings. Well, they have made some. One more sleep to go, says Mike. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Oh, please do subscribe. We're very close to 150k, which is another nice target for the community. So thank you very much. Speak to you all in a bit.